Hey, Caleb here, and today I want to talk about how I set up my AR-15 to do everything I needed to do for basically everything from home defense out to 600 yards or even night vision, stuff at night. So let's get started. Okay, so what do I mean when I talk about a do-it-all rifle? Basically, I have a rifle set up that I could do everything that I need to do, whether it is in my house for home defense. I can use this, or if I'm wanting to shoot out to distance, 600 yards, I've taken this out to over 600 yards with this. And gotten hits, and I've even taken it to night vision courses and done some night vision stuff with it. The setup was a little bit different all those times, different optics, different things like that, but I've been going through it and you find out what you like and you find out what works. But basically, when we're talking about a do-it-all optic, I think it's pretty important to have a low power variable optic. Optics with magnification do not make it easier to hit what you're aiming at, because if you can see it, you can hit it, whether it's a red dot or whether it has magnification. But what low power variable optics do is they make it easier to see what you need to hit. On our range all the time, the 0 to 100 yard targets on the rifle range, guys with red dots, they have no problem hitting those because you can see them. Our berms are, grass berms, and then you get the steel targets up there. But past that distance, it becomes really hard to even identify what you want to shoot. So I think it's important, especially in the civilian context, to have some magnification. If you're going to have a rifle that you're going to take outside your home in some scenarios, and because you need to be able to positively ID whatever it is that you're going to be shooting at. Not very likely scenario that you're going to be at that distances. Most engagements will probably be a lot closer than that, but I think that's a good idea if you're going to have a do-it-all rifle that you're setting up for all types of things, whether it's your normal everyday life in current society or, a what hits the fan scenario with zombies and all that type of stuff. So I do think a magnified variable power optic is a good idea for a do-it-all rifle. You could run a red dot with a magnifier as well, or have that option. So that is another thing that you could do. But this is how I have it set up now. And we're going to talk about all the different pieces that are on this and why I think that makes it very valuable to have a do-it-all system for you. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so this is my AR-15, one of my AR-15s. This one, we got some dummy rounds in here, so people won't freak out. But this one is basically a BCM upper receiver and a Arrow Precision lower receiver that we put together at a workshop a while back. So let's talk about the upper, and we'll go from tip to butt. This BCM upper actually started life as a 14.5-inch upper. It was the first time that I played with a 14.5-inch barrel, and I really liked it, but the unfortunate thing with gun laws being what they are, I had to have a pin and welded muzzle device on the end. Eventually, I got to the point where I bought some silencers, and I wanted to use a dead air compatible muzzle device so that I could run a silencer on here. So that required chopping the barrel and pinning a new muzzle device on there. So this is now not a 14.5-inch barrel. This is a 13.7. I believe it's actually, I think we went a little bit over that, maybe like 13.9. I forget exactly, but to make sure that we're staying within all those legal guidelines. But let's talk about that. So we have this, I believe this is a Knox muzzle device that's on the end, dead air, compatible, as I said, for running a silencer. This is just a standard rail that came on the 14.5-inch upper. So it goes really close to the muzzle device, really flush right there. Next we have the light. So the light here is a Surefire Scout light. This is the dual fuel version, so you can run two of the smaller batteries or one of the bigger ones, I forget the name. Basically, very high output light, take care of anything you need. The switching, you can have a push button switch, but this is a push button switch that also has cables that come out that lead to a Surefire dual pressure pad. So one of these runs the light, and one of these runs the night vision device, the OPL. This is an OPL-C made by EOTech, I believe, and OPL-C runs a IR laser, infrared laser, that can only be picked up when you're running night vision. So that's the purpose of that. And I have it mounted back because my standard grip is, generally this is a daytime, so it's set up. So again, when you're setting up a do-it-all rifle, you kind of got to figure out what your most likely things that you need to set it up for, make sure that those bases are covered, while also giving you those additional capabilities that you might not use that much, but you still want them there, so they become kind of like the second order thing that you're trying to take care of, but they don't take primary, okay? So this is run further back because it's primarily not used at night. I only do a little bit of night vision shooting, so it runs a little further back. There's a little bit of splash with the illuminator device over here, which can get in the way when you're running it with your hand in the way, because the way that this works is if I'm hitting it with a button here, we have some splash here, and I can always run my thumb back and activate the laser just by itself, kind of mitigate some of that. And then just using some zip ties for cable management here. I believe that that's pretty much it. This is the front attachment point, obviously, for the sling. This is the Frank Proctor minimalist sling that I really like. And so going back here onto the upper, let's see the optic setup that we have. So this is a Nightforce NX8 1:8 scope. This is super awesome. When these came out, I was like, that's a great idea. This is like one of the lightest low power variable optic scopes that you can get. And I really, really like it. Especially this is one of the newer versions where they came out with a different reticle design that kind of fixed some of the problems that people had with the original Nightforce one. So the glass on this is like super clear. Nightforce is known for being basically bomb proof. There's like pictures in their marketing materials of bullet holes and some Nightforce scopes that were used in the military, and they still survive. So super awesome scope. I've been super happy with it. And you can use it like a red dot up close, which is where I keep it most of the time. I keep it on 1X because that's the most likely thing that I gotta use it for. And then it's seated in a ScalarWorks mount here. This is just a 1.5 size mount, the regular normal size mount. And yes, it does clear the APL. You don't even see it in the scope. But these ScalarWorks mounts are really cool. They're one of the lightest quick detach scopes that you can, scope mounts that you can get. Like I said, super light, super low profile, so it keeps it from getting too bulky. And then on the side, it's also a ScalarWorks Sidekick mount that has an RMR, just regular Type 1 RMR on there with a 2 MOA dot. Which is basically the backup sighting system for this. Actually, you have multiple redundant backup sighting systems, right? So you got the primary, which I said is a very durable scope. It's going to be pretty hard to break a Nightforce. If you do, you have the RMR as the backup sighting system. So no iron sights on this. This is a red dot backup system. Red dots are just a better aiming system than iron sights. That's just the way it is. And they're arguably as durable as iron sights. So I'm running a optic for the backup iron sight. And then of course you got your third way of aiming here. This has a visible laser that you can use during the daytime. I don't really do that, but you know, it's there if, you know, zombie scenario. Another thing that this backup red dot sight gives me that I wouldn't have with iron sights, which is again like kind of the do-it-all theme here, is with night vision. This is not only a backup sighting system for daytime, but with night vision, you can also use this for passive aiming, which isn't probably the number one way that I would use night vision and aiming. I'm gonna go with the laser first, but this is a good option as like a backup if I ever have to, you know, if the laser goes down or for some other reason, I gotta use passive aiming, which is kind of all the rage and people debate whether it's important or not, but it's kind of neat that you can have that capability. So why not run the red dot optic as the backup sight if I can also do that? As long as I'm running the PBS-14 over the dominant eye, which I can, then that's what I'm gonna do. And then moving back, so again, this BCM upper, Aero Precision lower. Trigger here is a CMC trigger, flat face. This is just a one-stage trigger, and I like it. I'm not sure how much I like it though, whether I will be going back to a two-stage kind of duty style trigger, but very good trigger, very upgraded trigger. Only other difference here is this is a BCM grip. I do like the BCM grips. They seem to fit my hand pretty well. Charging handle here is a Geisley charging handle. Very, very robust design, very easy to manipulate from both sides. But it's not so big that it snags on your gear when you're slung your rifle and you're wearing chest gear or even just your regular clothes, or if you switch your rifle back behind your back. This doesn't get snagged as much as a, originally I had a BCM extended charging handle one, and I think I had the large version, and occasionally it'll get snagged and you can kind of come out of battery there a little bit. So I do like that charging handle so that I don't have that problem. Let's see here, going back, everything else is somewhat standard. So we have a Viltor A5 buffer system. What this is basically, I don't think it's exactly, but it gives you like a rifle length buffer type system in the AR-15 platform, which helps the overall reliability of the system. So that's good, reduces recoil a little bit, just makes the whole thing a little more reliable, a little more stealthy shooting. Then we go back to the stock, which is a Magpul stock. That I also like, pretty slim stock here, and of course the rear attachment point for the sling. And that's pretty much it when it comes to my rifle. Somewhat basic, just using a pretty simple idea, having a low power variable optic, and everything else that I want to do with this. About the only thing that I can say is once you get all this stuff on here, the rifle becomes a little bit heavy. So if you're carrying this around all day or you're doing a lot of training, then you're going to notice the weight, but this still isn't bad because a lot of choices have been made to keep this thing lightweight. And with the very lightweight profile barrel, that really helps out things there. So going back to the barrel, that is something I forgot to mention. This barrel is the BCM ELW Extreme Lightweight Barrel. So it was already started very lightweight, so that's definitely useful when you start putting all this other junk on here. So there you have it. That is my do-it-all AR-15. Let me know if you run your rifle in some kind of similar setup or if you do it a different way. And, let me know your thoughts there. If you want to learn how to use your rifle, then come on out to Patriot Training Center and we'll teach you how to run that thing.